welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, a podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are going to talk about Mafia Mamma. This is a new comedy, that came out starring Toni Collette, Monica Bellucci. Quite a lot of other people are in this as well, but those are the only two that I'm mainly going to focus on probably for the majority of this review. So when I saw the trailer for Mafia Mamma, I very much so, I don't know if I blacked out or what happened, but I really assumed or had an assumption of what this movie was going to be, which it turned out not to be anywhere close to what I thought. I thought it was going to be a comedy about Toni Collette's character, who kind of inherits the mafia from her family. I assumed that she knew that it was the mob, and that because she was like in this family, her trying to date became sort of the comedic thing, i.e. I'm in the mafia, I'm trying to date, all of these people are really just trying to kill me, haha, hardy har. That is not at all what this is. Mafia Mamma, unfortunately, suffers from what I feel like a lot of movies coming out of Hollywood suffer from, and a lot of television shows as well. Rings of Power comes to mind. A lot of other things come to mind, in that the writers, producers, showrunners are more interested in pushing an agenda or pushing a certain narrative than they are in writing an actual good script or telling a good story or therefore having a good movie. It actually hurts me in my soul that Toni Collette and Monica Bellucci are lowering themselves to the point of being in a film this terrible. Like, Monica Bellucci for certain has had such an extensive filmography of things that she has been in, and I think she is arguably one of the most stunning actresses that I have ever seen, and she is so talented. I fell in love with Monica Bellucci when she played a courtesan in the film Brotherhood of the Wolf. I thought she was absolutely just breathtaking. Her character was incredible, and she has been in so many films that I don't know if it's sort of Hollywood's FU, I guess, to women that reach a certain age, that the roles potentially, I'm guessing this is what made her pick this, that film roles just don't come as readily once you are in a certain age bracket as a woman in Hollywood. I have to assume that's what's going on here, because I cannot for the life of me think of another reason why Toni Collette or Monica Bellucci would think that this was a good move in their careers. I think that Toni Collette is actually a really great actress as well. I did a review really not that long ago for the television show The Power that also stars Toni Collette, and I think that that one is decent. It's a decent television series, and I think that her character is actually pretty good in that one. So it surprises me that she, at the same time, I imagine, was working on Mafia Mamma, which is not good. The entire narrative of the film basically is trying to push how men really keep the woman down and how they overlook her and don't take her seriously and manipulate her and use her and all of this stuff. But her reactions and her part in it is so ridiculous that I just don't understand who was thinking that a grown woman is going to look at that and behave in the same manner. In the film, kind of how she ends up going to Italy and taking over this mafia in the first place is her grandfather dies, she hears about it. She has no intention of going to Italy because obviously she's been raised in America. She is not connected to this family at all. But she then ends up walking downstairs and walking in on her husband in the act of sleeping with someone else, in their home while she is there. And her reaction to discovering that her husband is cheating on her is literally, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're cheating on me. This is terrible." Are you kidding me that that's how a woman is really going to react? And especially if you're pushing this narrative that like she's a total people pleaser and she's been held down and like she cares more about other people's feelings. Women with an incredibly low self-esteem, if that's the narrative that you're trying to push, are gonna freak the fuck out if they walk in on their husband cheating on them with someone else, and someone in this case that was, I think, significantly younger than her. But she doesn't. She really just has this like blah, dead fish reaction to discovering that her husband is cheating on her. Her son and her have this really awkward relationship. Like, it doesn't even feel, I don't know, like they're very disjointed and disconnected. Her relationship with her and her son, like it feels very forced and very like bad actory-ish. And then like her job frustrated the crap out of me. Like she has a legitimate 9 to 5 right before she joins this mafia and like finds herself. And she's working for a pharmaceutical company in the marketing department. And I don't know who is living under a rock in Hollywood that has this incorrect narrative that pharmaceutical companies give one iota about any of the people that use their pharmaceuticals. Like, her kind of role in the marketing department is that she's trying to push drugs to help other people, which she would not have had that job very long. I'm sorry. She would have worked in the marketing department for a pharmaceutical company for about a day and a half if her goal was to always like market the betterment of the people that are using the drugs. I have never ever in my life known a pharmaceutical company that had any agenda other than making money off of the pharmaceuticals that they create. Like, there are very rare instances where pharmaceutical companies create drugs for the actual betterment of the people that are using them. Like, they really mostly push this agenda on certain things so that they can make more money. You know, I think I want to say Viagra was intended to be something completely different, but they discovered that they would make more money marketing it as what it is used for today. I mean, it really comes down to money. And so they have this sort of narrative of her boss and coworkers that these men are just this horribly chauvinistic, you know, they don't care about her ideas because she's a woman. No, I guarantee you they don't care about her ideas because her ideas aren't going to make them money. Like, that is really what it would come down to. And the acting in this film was so abysmal. Like, it was so terrible. It almost seemed like the intention was to be a parody of making a movie, like purposefully acting things over the top or being so ridiculous. And it almost kind of reminded me of like somehow this combination of toilet humor and women empowerment, if that's even a genre that exists today. Like, all of the things that I feel like were meant to be humorous were scenes, for instance, like she gets attacked in her hotel room and uses her stiletto heel to stab the guy in his junk and in the eyeball. And then they talk about, you know, the specifics of how they found parts of his man bits like in his eye sockets. And I think that you are meant to find that funny. And it didn't land for me as being particularly funny. Like, pick a thing and go with that. Try to write a good script. I am really verging on thinking that Hollywood is just incapable, that they're so wrapped up in playing politics instead of doing what their job essentially should be, which is to make entertainment. Like, they're really trying to push this, you know, women are just as great as men and they can do anything that a man can do. I'm sure they can. Like, that's not a question. Most women know that they're capable of doing things, you know, but there are certain limitations to that point. Like, if you're going to push this narrative that women are so great because men are garbage, you're going to lose a lot of your audience, because I, for one, am not the type of woman that wants to sit through a 2-hour film where you're telling me how stupid men are and how great women are. That's not not humor to me. Like, that's not funny to me. I'm sure there are quite a few, people, men and women both, out there who find that type of thing hilarious. I personally don't. And I don't think that even they believe that people will, because when I went to go see this movie, it was put in the smallest possible theater, i.e., there are not very many tickets that can be sold for that particular movie. And it wasn't even remotely sold out. I think that there were maybe 5 or 6 of us in the theater watching this film. So even the movie companies must know that this movie is trash. So then why did it get this far? Like, why didn't you do something about it in production? Why didn't you try to change the script and make it better? Like, you had to have known you didn't have something that was going to really make you money. And does it come down to like Hollywood just doesn't care about making money as long as 1 or 2 people hear their narrative on women empowerment and, how trashy men are? I really am struggling to understand what foothold they are assuming they are going to get with movies like this. And it really just bums me out to see actresses the caliber of Monica Bellucci and Toni Collette lowering themselves to films like this. It was incredibly disappointing to me. So Mafia Mamma is, if you haven't noticed, not at all a film that I would recommend that anyone go see. I think it is an easy pass. I don't even think that this one is worthy of like watching when you can just stream it at home. I think it's just a total pass of, I wish that I had not spent the 2 hours. I'm happy for the popcorn, but I wish I had not spent the 2 hours watching it, because I walked out not even thinking that it was particularly, all that funny. Like, if it had been a little bit more humorous, I guess, then at least it would have been a good time to watch. But this wasn't even that. It was really stupid. It was definitely not something that if I had known like what it was going to be, I would have even bothered to watch it in the first place. It was just, to me, a total loss and a total disappointment. So those are my thoughts on Mafia Mamma. I would love to know what you guys thought if you actually watched this film. Subscribe if you want to join the Movie Nerd family. You can find some of my older content now on YouTube. Please subscribe over there if you enjoy that format. And I hope to see you in the next episode.